Do you realize it's the last Friday we're doing like GM Farcaster? Yes. It is April 26th, Friday, April 26th. Happy Friday. And you are here with Knowledge Profit Adrian for, I'm not even going to say 21 minutes because that's just ridiculous at this point. A whole bunch of time. Less than 30 minutes of Farcaster news to start your day. We need a new different tagline, so please help us with that. And this is our last Friday before FarCon. Next Friday, we will be at FarCon doing our 100th episode. And I know we keep talking about it, but it's just like really exciting. So I'm really excited. And it was so fun yesterday to chat with the team. And we also dropped a little video FAQ in the FarCon channel. So go check that out. And if you have other questions, that is the place to drop them. And we'll be checking those and either answering them if we can, or making sure they get answered. So please make sure that that's where you're dropping your questions. Do not under any circumstances, DC Ted, just don't do it. And don't get mad when she doesn't reply, because she's been told. You've been told. You have been informed.
I have a fraction of the number of followers of Ted, and I have, and I'm not organizing FarCon, and I can't keep up with my DCs. So
it's so hard.
The fact that she even pretends to try is mind blowing to me.
Yeah, it's so hard. So I just turned your cast into a song. Okay, I'm not sure what that means, and okay, and a non-person. I need more information. So first of all, I need to know who you are so I can award you in our chat. And also, please drop whatever link to whatever song, because I think I need to know exactly what that is. So, it's IBC. Okay. I need to know more. So please share. So really excited. There's so much going on. There's too much going on. So everybody's dropping stuff right before FarCon, and it's getting a little crazy, and I'm getting a little stressed because you're just giving us too many things. So first off, priority mode is here. So what is priority mode? Well, you ask. Well, introducing priority mode. We see fewer uninteresting casts when using Warpcast. By default, the app will only show you casts from accounts 1 you follow, 2 with the power badge, or 3 engaged with by the cast author. Toggle on and off in settings. So this is pretty cool. And a couple other notes to kind of expand upon that. How to think about this: who you follow, you control this. Unfollow at any time. Power badge: a nice mix of interesting OG Farcaster accounts and newer accounts that have built an audience. Cast author engagement: discover accounts with engagement worth replies. Should bring back a pre-permissionless vibe. And then to-dos. This is what they still have on their docket. Clean up accuracy of reply counts. A few edge cases here. Need to roll this out to channels. Clean up power badge. Bottom 10 to 20% has some uninteresting accounts. Okay. Make easier for good new accounts to be classified as priority worthy. We'll continue to iterate. And a little bit more here. Won't priority mode, this is a question we keep getting that I'm sure he's been getting or has thought about. Won't priority mode make it harder for new good accounts to get discovered? TLDR, yes, but a more tractable problem than classifying all the uninteresting accounts that annoy people. And then there is a bit more information there. So I think this was the same. Oh, after this is the last place uninteresting generic LLM generated cast and spam will still be visible is channels. So they still have to roll out a fix for this. We'll have a fix for it soon. Remember, you can always opt out of priority mode or use a different client, or create your own client. So I think that Adrian summed it up well. Warpcast, where only the interesting survive. So that was the big news yesterday from the team, from the Merkle team. And I did love your meme. That was on point. Have you tried priority mode, and how are you feeling about your feed?
Didn't it drop like 3 hours ago? No, I haven't. Yeah. I haven't had. I slept last night. I hung out with my family.
So
I
no.
had an event at my kids' high school.
So
And
you
then,
had like a life and stuff? Oh, okay. Okay, I see.
so I don't have
Um,
opinions. I mean, but kudos to Dan for the relentless focus on quality
yeah,
and kind of
for sure.
experience, and how there was some conversation in my feed, at least once I posted that meme, about just using the word interesting. Like, what if I'm not interesting? No, at the end of the day, social network is still a popularity contest. We all feel like we're in
Yeah.
high school. No one wants to be labeled
Nope.
uninteresting, uncool, not powerful. It all sucks. I don't have an answer for it. But there's such
If you
magic
have
with.
a better word, throw it in our chat or drop it on the thread with this episode once we drop it there, because we'd love to, we can always make that suggestion. I personally can't think of a better word to use. I just can't. I mean, I think there's probably one that exists, but nothing's coming to mind for me. And I think it's just what's interesting to you is not necessarily what's interesting to somebody else. And a lot of that, I like, the framing around who you follow is how you create your feed. And that's been true. That's true of any social network. And I
Totally.
know that's the way I curated my, crypto Twitter. The only reason we can call it crypto Twitter is it's because who you follow. And that's how you curate your feed there, is to, sort of remove things that you don't want to see is by who you follow. And then the algo will play its role. But yeah.
Great
So
point. People still
yeah,
have agency. Like,
you have a lot of
you're
agency.
still
It's
in
all about you.
control. Yeah.
Yeah. Most of it is controlled by you. Like, very little is controlled by the team. It's mostly you and who you're following. So if you're and so Cameron's in the middle of an interesting experiment too, which I forgot to pull that cast, but he went and unfollowed everyone. So if you've been unfollowed by Cameron, you're not alone. He unfollowed everybody. So don't take it personally.
It doesn't mean you're not interesting.
It doesn't mean you're not interesting. It also doesn't mean you're interesting if he follows you back, but it probably does actually. So he's going to go through and then recreate his feed. And that was part of it. Was he was following about 3,000 accounts, and it was just, he felt like that might be impacting his feed. And I follow quite a few. I follow probably a little less than that, but not much. I think I follow like 2.2K or something. And so it's, you have to, I probably need to do some culling, but also I tend to follow anybody wearing noggles on their PFP.
That's
So
right.
that is part of my following strategy.
You're a simple woman.
I'm a simple woman. I really am. I see noggles, I give a follow. I rarely don't follow somebody with noggles on their PFP. And then I obviously follow other people who I find interesting or I connect with or I've met in person or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways that I curate my own feed. But I do think this will be definitely helpful. And it gives a new option for those who are looking to, sort of hack their feed, if you will. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. So now we got to live with it for a little bit. And I'm sure there'll be some tweaking to it. And we'll see how it goes. But I mean, really, you killed it with this meme. This is pretty hilarious. So thank you for that. I say that Adrian's a funny one.
I don't
A lot
meme
of people
often,
don't.
but when I do,
You nail it. You absolutely nail it. I say Adrian's a funny one, and sometimes you all don't believe me. It's true. All right, moving on from horse facts. We've got a slow load today. FC, I thought this was really interesting, and I know that we don't really have time to really dive into this, but I'd love for the chat to continue this conversation later on. FC idealists and realists sometimes talk past each other. Both see a growing network with 50K DAU. Idealists round up to the best possible future. Why isn't it more like that today? Realists round down to the most probable future. 0, default dead. What can we do today to escape it? We need both. And then, this one got a comment from Vitalik. Realist idealists understand that even if it drops to 0, it was all worth it. Better to do something interesting and fail than to do nothing interesting at all. It's more fun and the world gets more training data. And to me, that's really the thing that, Dan will always say, like, this might just be a science experiment, right? So, and I've often said that too. I'm like, well, it all might go to 0. And, will it have been worth it? Yeah, it's the friends we made along the way.
But
And,
such good friends, though. I mean, it is. It's worth it already.
it's worth it already. But I thought that was a really interesting take. And I'm definitely more of the idealist, but I think I'm an idealist realist, honestly, because I would be that person who would be like, yeah, that was totally worth it. And I think that with a lot of the, not all, but a lot of the NFTs I've collected and a lot of the coins I've collected that I didn't make me any money or whatever, but it's been about the learning for me most of the time
Yeah.
of like, okay, well, I learned something from this, or I got a really cool piece of art or whatever it was. So it wasn't always about how much money did I make on this or what, that part of it. But interesting thoughts. Any other thoughts on that? Where do you think you put yourself in here? I'd say
Where do
probably
you?
idealist, right?
Oh, total idealist, but
Yeah.
not in the, I got in a debate with someone this week. It's not in the, oh, vibes and I'm not paying attention, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of the set, or like kind of where the what are we calling them? The realists come from, I
Yeah.
think comes from this like psychological fear of being wrong,
Mm.
of like,
Hmm.
it's of let's not hope for something, and we hopium and cope and all
Yeah,
the, oh,
copium and yeah,
yeah, like, let's not hope because then we could be wrong and that'll be sucky. And
and that will make us look bad. Yeah,
yeah,
there
and I
might be
kind
some
of
ego
like,
in there.
mhm.
Mhm.
So,
Hmm.
I
That's
tend
interesting.
to be, it's not so much an idealist, but an optimist. And kind of,
Yeah.
if there's small steps today we can take to build the future we want, we should do it. And it should be worth it, even if you don't make it all the way.
I liked Vitalik's sort of realist idealist. That I think is where I land. I'm not
Mhm.
I'm not like pie in the sky, but I'm definitely optimistic. Yeah, definitely optimistic. But anyway, okay, so moving on. We got to move on. We've got like everybody, can you just stop for a minute? Like let's just you guys are very busy the past couple days. I think everyone's just ramping up like crazy. So anyway, so we got a lot of casts, but there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. So this is from V and then Dan adding on to it. DWR and I will do a 5 to 10 minute talk with some Q&A to kick off FarCon next week. If you're going to be there, what do you want to hear us talk about? And then Dan said, please reply or like the casts of questions you're most interested in hearing. So just the interesting ones, back to interesting. So if you don't have any questions of your own, go and at least add your input about what you want to hear from the team. And then this for FarCon from the Icebreaker team. If you were there last year, they did a little experiment with, hold on, I've got it handy right here, with cards that you could then tap and get the information from those you meet. So run it back, bigger and badder, personalized badges for Summit Pass holders, badges pre-mapped to all ticket holder FIDs, FC native short links .fc, share multiple accounts at once via tap. That's interesting. Dynamic NFT tickets, open connection data, and profile APIs. Stoked for next week. And there's a little photo of what it might look like with the PFP in the middle. And then similarly, you've got this from Victero. Would you like to have your IRL power badge? The Flock team is bringing your version of the Warpcast PFP to FarCon. You'll see us for sure to pick yours up. So this was pretty fun. And I did notice some friends in this little GIF, including my own self. So that was kind of nice. And then we have this from JTGI. New AutoMod now supports downvote. Channel hosts can opt in whoever they want to be able to downvote via cast actions. You control the downvote threshold and what happens. Hide the post, put the user in cooldown, whatever you like. Available now to all channels if you have AutoMod. And I thought this was really interesting. They then actually changed it up. They had everyone as an option. And then what they decided to do was take out that option because they thought it might end up being gamified. So you can now just set it for those you trust to be sort of making those downvotes within your channel. So you have a channel that's very busy, has had a lot of spam problems with Farcaster, and that's because of the degen farming. Is this something you think you might try? And like, what are your thoughts on this?
100%. I'm already using AutoMod and it's phenomenal. 100% want to try the downvote. I haven't had a chance to spend
Yeah.
much time on channel curation but definitely something I want to do. And what a great example of kind of the open nature of Farcaster,
Mhm.
which is JGI not affiliated with Merkle, but able to build tools that lets us customize our Warpcast experience. So still such like early, it still feels very early innings, but in terms of kind of the openness and with the frames and the cast actions and with APIs, I'm starting to see kind of
Yeah.
having lots of people figure out how to solve the spam problem. I mean, this is what happened with email. It's
Right.
doesn't necessarily
Yeah,
need to be
great
at the
point.
protocol level.
Yeah, great point about email too. Yeah, there wasn't one person solving the problem. It's multiple. And I think this is really, really interesting, super helpful. I think it definitely will help those who are hosting channels, especially the very large channels, to have some management that doesn't all come through them. It's really, you can then have it almost like community curated moderation. And I think that's super helpful. Not something that I think I think nouns would be the only one that it might be helpful for, which I haven't talked to them to see if anyone's going to put that into place in terms of the ones that I help host. The other ones are pretty small and we don't have a major issue, but I think it's an incredible tool for those who are have those really large channels for sure. A few other notes. This from Matcha, who is our CLP today. We mentioned this the other day, but I think this is amazing. We teamed up with Matcha XYZ as our go-to DEX for trading DGen, and we're thrilled about it. They built an outstanding platform. We're excited to collaborate. This is from Yasik, by the way. Plus, it's super cool to see them handing out over 3 million DGen to their users. So let's make it Warpcast official. We're partnering with DGen as the preferred DEX of the Top Hat gang. So they've been giving away DGen. And then they gave away a little something else over here too. So they did a halving frame gang to commemorate this was a couple days ago. This was about last week, but it was after our show. So I didn't have a chance to shout it out. This upcoming Bitcoin halving, here's a frame for WBTC enjoyers. Ever swapped WBTC using Matcha Auto, claims 69 DGen. Counts historical trades, counts new trades, and then $5 plus. Must use Matcha Auto, and they love you. So you can check your eligibility right in the frame. I thought this was really cute. I love their designs and everything. They've been killing it with that, and love the team. They're just a lot of fun. We have something that we're planning with them for our event at FarCon. So you'll see that next week if you're there, and if not, you'll see it afterwards. And if you are a Wawa or Mole subscriber, you just got airdropped our background here, which is our official little launch NFT with them, and it is now in your wallet. So there you go. Have to mention this. This was like all the rage yesterday, and I almost wanted to talk about it yesterday, but we were doing a FarCon show, so I didn't. Far cards, which took over my timeline. I don't know about yours, but my timeline was full of far cards. This is mine, and it's freaking adorable. If I do say so myself. It's so cute. So this was by Undefined, and it was really fun. And he replied back to me, Sikar, I'm also a star. I'll animate your card once this chaos is over, because things got crazy for him and things kept failing, and it was nuts because it really took off more than he anticipated. I also loved Toad's World one. If you're a Cryptoads fan, this was really cute if it ever shows, because I'm suddenly now things aren't showing for me, but it was really cute. Come on, load. Did you end up getting your FAR card?
I didn't get my FAR card.
Get your FAR card so we can collect it. I want it with your Fox. Okay. Sometimes the frames were not loading properly, or people didn't have they didn't have they didn't have anything in their Coinbase wallet. So transaction frames right now, if you didn't know, only work with Coinbase wallet right now. That may change, but for now, that's the situation. And so you couldn't do this within the frame unless you had Coinbase Wallet. But there was a workaround, and you just had to go to mint.club, explore/base, and find FAR cards, and then the name of the person you were trying to collect. So there is a workaround, and you can find it, and it'll be in our show notes if you're looking to collect somebody's FAR card. And if you have,
luckily I have a Coinbase wallet, so maybe
there you go.
Get to that today. By the way, on the latest Moment of Zen episode,
Yes,
Mike Rainbow is on, and he did say, I think promised. I think he promised that Rainbow would add support for transaction frames, and he said like soon.
Yeah, I did. That was a great episode, by the way. And shout out Antonio. I did post this in the Moz channel. It is never at the Cape. It is always down or on. This is a very important point, and it really disturbed me throughout the whole entire episode. If you didn't know, I'm actually also from, if you go listen to this episode, this will make a lot more sense. I'm also from Southeastern Massachusetts, from the same exact, like, very small area where Dan and Mike are from, just ironically. So we found this out when I interviewed both of them on different things, and I found it out both times I interviewed them, and it was very strange. And yes, it would be pronounced Farcaster, in case you didn't know. And if you're gonna be back in the Boston area, the way you're gonna say it so everybody understands what you're saying is Farcaster. There's no R's at all. Don't put any R's in there. It's Farcaster, not Farcaster. No.
Pauline, right. And then there were jokes on the timeline yesterday that people who don't know US dialogue got very lost and confused about. By the way, on transaction, the limit of, I'm getting corrected, show notes from the chat. So thank you. The limit on Coinbase Wallet is only on mobile. On desktop, transaction and it's just so.
Okay.
Any wallet on desktop is good. So thank you.
So it's just mobile. Mobile is only Coinbase Wallet. Thank you for the clarification. Appreciate that. Because I had only tried it, and I knew that, because it was really funny, because it got me using. I have a Coinbase Wallet. It's not my main wallet. I still am a MetaMask user. I'm sorry. You can call me Boomer, whatever you want. But I do have a Coinbase Wallet, and so I was actually moving funds over there yesterday because I was getting a little crazy with my FAR card collecting. I'm a collector. I like to collect things. So if you have a FAR card, let me know in the chat, because I'll go grab it. As long as it's not like crazy now, because there is a bonding curve. Anyway, we got a couple more things we want to shout out, and then this was just funny. This one's just, sometimes I just pull. If people wonder how I pull casts, if they make me laugh is number one. And then if it's informative is number two. But this made me laugh. Because I feel this very much to my soul. Having gone through the thought process of explaining Farcaster to normies a few times, I think the best explanation is that Farcaster is like the Matrix. It must be experienced. What you know, you can't explain. And yet here we are. Here we are trying to explain it. This from Yasik. We've recently taken action by banning approximately 2,000 users whom we suspect were farming degen. If you believe you've been unfairly banned, please take a moment to fill out this form and we'll investigate further. So the most common reason if you are being banned from tipping and from receiving tips is that you've been degen farming as part of a coordinated posting in artificial engagement. So if you feel that this happened and it was incorrect for your wallet, please go fill out that form. And then lastly, a couple more things. These were some really cool dashboards that have popped up recently. This is from Elemi from Dune. He's the wizard over there. I created a dashboard that gives Farcaster meme coins, financial and social scores, so communities can understand how they stack up against one another and investors can better understand risks. And then you can see more detail about the methodology and the dashboard below in this cast. I think this is really interesting because, true meme coins have community components to them. And I think that is a good way to frame it and to think about it. And then this, Farcasters with the longest streak of being weekly active on the network. And this was really interesting. Who was number one, do you think? Did you look at this?
V? Was it V?
It was V. It was not Dan. There was quite a few people. Dan got Dan must have gone on vacation. Because it was not him. I was very surprised. And he wasn't number 2. It was like, yeah, he was way down there. So this was interesting.
Dan, I actually know Dan was had 74 consecutive weeks. And I know this because I looked at myself and I had 75. So I just topped him.
There you are. Yes. So there's your flex for the day. Your flex for the day is you have more consecutive weeks than Dan. Now don't blow it. So now you're not.
Now Dan is claiming his database shows that he never took a week off, which we can debate that. I don't know what his database means.
The chain generally doesn't lie.
That's right.
But we'll see. I mean, I was surprised personally. I'm like, I don't think there's been a week where he hasn't casted, but anything's possible. I think I was at 56 weeks or something like that. I was somewhere around there. And I was like, well, I got to be more than a year. That lined up for me. That seemed about right, because right around a little bit before FarCon last year, which would have been almost over a year ago, almost a year ago, I started to be more active. So that made a lot of sense to me. Say a little bit over a year. So you can go check that out and see where you stack up in the rankings of your weekly casting. And so that was fun. Oh, I want to mention one more thing. This was from you. Because it was a really good episode. Johnny Mac, our friend Nonlinear, was on Boys Club talking about Hypersub. And it was a great episode. So go give that a listen right after you listen to Moz. Moment is Zen. Just do them back to back. Have a whole little Farcaster moment there. Farcaster moment. Sorry. Nonlinear is not from there, though. It's not the same. It's just not the same. And that is
Boston accent. I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you just pull the Boston accent?
Yes.
Because it's distinct and it's easy to do. Was that ever your accent?
That was actually my accent.
Okay.
No, that was 100% the way I spoke until I was in college. And the only reason
and then people were like, you talk funny.
Yes. They kept asking me to say things. Can you say party? Like potty. Can you say car? It was annoying. And I just got sick of it. So I worked on changing my accent. And pretty much you'll hear that same story, I would guess, from anybody who's from that area who, So if I get very angry, let me put it this way. If you hear my Boston accent come out and I'm not doing it deliberately, probably run the other way, because something's gone terribly wrong. And it means that I have no control over it. I remember that happening in college. I was at a Panhellenic meeting, as a matter of fact, and something happened and I just went off in the middle of this meeting and somebody went, wow, I had no idea you had such a strong Boston accent. Well, it comes out when I'm really pissed. When I'm wicked pissed, it comes out. So you got to run the other way. So I can pull it out when I need to. But anyway, and one little note for the chat. I never got around to sending your nogs. I also did not shout you out the other day, and I'm very sorry. It was a bit of a day. And I'm lonely. I cannot get back to the old chats. So I'm going to do it today. So if you're in the chat, and if you happen to be Anon, although I got you. I got you the one Anon who I saw that, IBC. If anyone else is Anon in the chat, just drop your Farcaster handle. I am going to drop some nogs today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tag you in my little shout out, and you're going to just need to reply to that one. And then I will tip you some nogs. And nogs are a fun little token from the Nouns ecosystem that now does have a little bit of liquidity. And I'm going to pull some out and send it all to you all. So, and that is it. Anything else that I missed today?
Just enjoy your Friday. Happy freaking Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday, everybody. And we will see you on Monday. So next week we are on Monday and Tuesday, regular time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. And then Friday we are on at 9:30 a.m. Pacific. So 12:30 p.m. I know time zones are going to be rough next week. p.m. Eastern, and very excited to see you. I do have so many nogs. Crypto's like, I have so many nogs. I have millions. I literally have millions. So say Casablanca. That's my favorite movie, Casablanca. Casablanca doesn't really have a Boston accent. It really doesn't make it.
Is it a Canadian accent? Because the
you
Canadians
need
are
Oz.
complaining about.
You need Oz. If you don't have Oz in it, it doesn't matter. And also there's weird, you can hear, if you know what you're listening to, you'll still hear my accent in there, even when I'm talking on here. But you have to know what you're listening for. It pops up every once in a while. All right. Now I feel like we're just chatting with the chat, which is kind of fun, but
I mean, we could keep going.
If you're listening to the recording, you're probably like, what are they talking about?
No. Yeah, really we're fun. Chatting with our chatters.
We're chatting with our chat. But with that, we are gonna call it, and we will see you Monday. We'll be back then, and we'll have lots more about all the things that are coming up with FarCon. As well as anything that happens over the weekend. And this, I'm going to expect the 1,700 things that are going to drop today. We'll talk about them on Monday. And with that, bye-bye.